Children need our love and protection. Get involved. That is the theme for this year's Child Month, which began yesterday, the 1st of May. Children are the future of every economy. Let us put all the necessary plans in place to ensure that they are always protected and guided in the right direction. Hello there, welcome to this Tuesday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Do stay with us, we have more coming up after these messages.
Last year, 488 Jamaicans died in road crashes. We don't want a repeat of that carnage in 2023. The new Road Traffic Act is about ensuring you arrive alive. Do your part. Obey all traffic signals. Wear your seatbelt and helmets. Let's make our roads safe for everyone.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, May 2, 2023. Jamaica's quest for constitutional reform is not merely a way of shedding the remnants of its colonial past, but a means of empowering the populace to demand accountability from its elected officials, says Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The Prime Minister made that assertion during a recent ceremony to hand over a new male ward at the Westmoreland Infirmary. Mr. Holness says the move towards becoming a republic is a signal to both the state and the people that we must take greater responsibility for ourselves and for the goals and missions we set ourselves. He says it is intended that the change will provide the apparatus needed to hold people in authority to account for the delivery of services to citizens.
We must not be comfortable with lax implementation and execution of projects. We must not be comfortable with missed deadlines and poor quality of service. And we must make our constitutional arrangements such that they support the efficiency and dignity of the state.
The government is currently conducting a series of public consultations to sensitize citizens about the constitutional reform process, which will see the island moving towards becoming a republic. The Prime Minister says the public consultations, which are being led by the Constitutional Reform Committee, will engage citizens on how we are going to structure our governance and governmental arrangements. But he stresses that this is not something that will happen overnight. The Ministry of Tourism is moving to remove entry fees from all its public attractions to give free access to all Jamaicans. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett announced the measure at a destination assurance meeting with stakeholders after a tour of several locations in St. Elizabeth recently.
From now on, every public asset that tourism will contribute to through the TEF will ensure free entry for all Jamaicans. But when you go in, you will have to make sure that you consume the assets within at a price so that we can keep maintaining at the highest level those public assets.
Minister Bartlett adds that the no entry fee measure will also be applied to the 3 major beach development projects for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Other regulatory changes will include the free licensing of all attractions.
We are going to abolish that requirement for a fee and be able to license everybody to be able to accommodate all the visitors. But while we do that, we are going to insist on a minimum consistency in the quality of the offering.
The measures are part of the Tourism Destination Assurance Strategy to safeguard Jamaica's tourism sector. Meanwhile, Jamaica's efforts to get a foothold in the lucrative United Arab Emirates UAE travel market gets a major push this week as Minister Edmund Bartlett participates in the Arabian Travel Market Trade Show and other events. The minister arrived in Dubai on Saturday ahead of starting a round of business meetings yesterday with tourism stakeholders and a series of interviews with leading media entities that have a wide reach into the business and travel markets. He says the visit to Dubai will help to cement relationships that have already been established. The primary focus is on the lucrative Arabian Travel Market event and the World Free Zones Organization's annual international conference and exhibition, ACE 2023, currently being held in Dubai. ACE is a premier event that brings together policymakers, industry leaders, investors, and experts from around the world to discuss the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities in the global free zones industry. It is being held from May 1 to 3. The internationally recognized firm Statista projects that UAE's travel and tourism market will produce revenue of $1.28 billion this year, and Minister Bartlett says Jamaica is making progress, which should allow the country to get a slice of that market. He says the goal is to have the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay serve as a hub for the Caribbean, whereby travelers from the UAE will have the option of booking multi-destinations and experience the varied and exciting cultural offerings of the islands in the region. While in Dubai, Minister Bartlett's itinerary includes a host of meetings, including with top government and private sector leaders and investors. The minister returns to the island on Friday, May 12. Expo Jamaica 2023, which concluded on the weekend, is expected to help generate new markets for Jamaica. That's the word from Senator Aubin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Senator Hill, who was addressing the opening ceremony for the Expo, says the event is in keeping with his ministry's strategic objective of increasing exports and local and foreign direct investment in Jamaica.
The opportunities provided by the Expo in connecting the world to Jamaica are many.
He insists that Jamaica must increase exports exponentially to turn the tide of its perennial negative trade balance of $4 billion and create a positive trade balance.
I will continue to lead the charge to expand existing and find new markets for Jamaican goods and services by taking business delegations to different cities and countries.
The 48th staging of Expo Jamaica attracted 250 exhibitors and 650 registered buyers, 300 of which arrived from 30 other countries. It was sponsored by the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce and held under the theme Connecting the World to Jamaica. Portland and St. Elizabeth can look forward to receiving new ambulances. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie says arrangements for the new ambulances were concluded with the Culture, Health, Arts, Sports and Education Fund, Chase Fund. Speaking at the opening ceremony of a new male ward at the Westmoreland Infirmary, Mr. McKenzie lamented that many infirmaries were operating without such services.
An ambulance is a very important part of the requirements. And I'm pleased to announce that the parishes of St. Elizabeth and Portland will benefit shortly from 2 new ambulances that will be provided by the Chase Fund.
And finally, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development is again raising concerns about the number of homeless people being attacked across the island. According to Minister McKenzie, there has been a 65% increase in the attacks on homeless people, and this is something the country should be worried about.
We have seen a 65% increase in the attacks on the homeless population across the country. And as a society, we must use every ounce of strength in our body to condemn these actions. This is not something that we must support.
While pointing to 3 street people being killed in Portland, the minister called on the authorities at the Portland Municipal Corporation to fast-track efforts to provide housing for homeless people in the parish.
We have the funds in the ministry to build a shelter for the homeless population. Portland, we are waiting on you to provide the land so we can build this facility.
Minister McKenzie was speaking at the opening ceremony for the Westmoreland Infirmary's new male ward recently. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
The latest now on all that happened in the office of the Prime Minister this past week.
Providing social support, handing over NSHB units, and making the case of investments at Expo Jamaica 2023 are a few of the undertakings from the desk of the Prime Minister in the past week. I'm Jada Francis, and you're watching Jamaica House Weekly. At the top of the week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness pledged government support for spending more on social programs in the next fiscal year. This to ensure that Jamaica's most vulnerable and poor are protected. He says the COVID-19 pandemic wreaked havoc and brought untold hardships on the lives of many Jamaicans, especially the less fortunate, and government has an obligation to assist.
I want to take this opportunity to therefore commit the administration to doing more in the upcoming, in the next budget. We have increased this budget as well, but in the budget to come, we must make a special effort to focus resources on the most vulnerable and the poor in the country.
He says the government has to deliberately ramp up its funding support to help the poor recover their consuming income, which has been wiped out due to inflation caused by the pandemic. The Prime Minister was speaking at the opening of a new male ward at the Westmoreland Infirmary, which has a capacity to house 50 residents.
We have a broad-based manufacturing industry here in Jamaica. And I'm certain that as a result of this expo and the exposure that this broad-based manufacturing base of Jamaica will get, our manufacturing will increase even greater.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, while delivering his keynote address at the opening ceremony for Expo Jamaica 2023 at the National Indoor Sports Centre on Thursday. He revealed that the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, through the Trade Board Limited, would be establishing an export academy. Work is expected to commence in July on the facility, which will be designed to provide free online information and training for businesses to boost their confidence to seek out export opportunities. The Trade Board is also working to digitize its services and initiatives with the aim of supporting exporters and facilitating ease of access to its provisions. Other plans in the pipeline include the Step Up initiative and a market intelligence and trade compliance information platform. Still at the Expo, Prime Minister Holness said the government was looking to introduce new energy sources to make power generation in Jamaica more reliable, available, and affordable. He said the government had embarked on a path to ensure that 50% of Jamaica's energy was generated from renewable sources.
We're currently doing a new integrated resource plan to make sure that when we do introduce more green energy up to 50%, that the entire grid is stable and that the capacity has been increased.
Mr. Holness maintained that the government was serious about insulating the economy from energy shocks and high energy prices. And Prime Minister Holness made good on his home deliveries, handing over another 5 units under the new social housing program. In Roaring River, Westmoreland, the unit's beneficiary is a physically disabled man who requires the assistance of his nephew to move around. He celebrated moving out of a dilapidated structure to the new home. During the ceremony, Prime Minister Holness expressed pleasure with the advancements that have been made under the program towards improving the lives of citizens.
That is the reality of this program. We are trying to attend to the most vulnerable. This program, by virtue of the systems that we have put in place, we have identified them and we're fairly satisfied.
Over in Albion, St. Thomas, 68-year-old farmer Louise Williams and Paula Williams, a domestic helper, are proud recipients of brand new units.
We have put in a very robust selection process to ensure that the needy get the houses and not those who are connected or the greedy. So anyone who has gotten a house so far is deserving.
At his final stop at Goodwin Park Road in Campbelltown, Central Kingston, 3 families whose homes had been gutted by fire in 2020 were given keys to new abodes. A 1-bedroom and 2 3-bedroom units valued at $17.2 million were handed over to Lloyd White, Lisa Brown, and Leisha Brown.
These households now have the benefit of proper housing. But more than that, they now have an asset that will help them to break intergenerational poverty. There is a base from which their children can build.
The Prime Minister implored the beneficiaries to adhere to their commitments under the social contract by maintaining their properties and becoming good ambassadors for the NSHP. And this is where we close out Jamaica House Weekly. We'll be back next week with more stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Mathematics is not about numbers, equations, computations, or algorithms. It is about understanding. Let's see how Seaview Gardens Primary has been making math fun and easily understood for its students.
Walk with me as I take you on a journey to a village like never before seen in Jamaica, a village that was created with one purpose in mind: to engage students at the Seaview Gardens Primary School in math. The Math Tree Lane Village was recently opened on the grounds of the Seaview Gardens Primary School in Kingston. The village, which is located off Matherific Boulevard, is the brainchild of math coordinator Denise Reed.
Inside our village, we have a shop area. In this shop area, we have play foods that the students will see in a regular shop. We have eggs, we have water, we have juice, we have basic things that you would see in a shop. Things are wrapped in pound, half pounds, 2-pound wrappings. We have scales, we have food and meats that are like play foods, beef, fish, chicken, that the students will interact with, and these are the things that they would see when they go to the shop to buy.
After visiting the Maths Masters one-stop shop, students and visitors can head to the nearby market.
So we have market day. If the students need to go in, they can go in, they can do buying and selling. We have, they can do weighing of goods, they can measure goods. The goods are priced, so they can do decimal, calculation, addition, all the mathematical operations will come out in the market, in the shop as well.
And there's more. At the very end of Matherific Boulevard, adjacent to Polymath Pathway, you'll find a house and the Math Express bus that journeys to Point Hill, 3 miles and halfway tree.
The math bus is actually a game center where the students go and play. It's not completed. They have to go and play interactive games, board games, games that develop critical thinking like draft, chess, Ludi, things like that. They go and play interactive games seated on the floor. They have a house. Inside of the house, you will see a stove, a table, and those things have shapes. They have geometric elements.
But the best thing about this interactive and engaging math village is that not only was it created for students, it is also partly run by a special group of students known as Math Elves.
The Math Elves are math students, the top math students from grades 5 and 6. Their responsibility is to go out to the different classes to which they are assigned. So they are assigned to grades 1 to 3. They use their lunch hour because we have 2 different lunch hours for upper school and lower school. So while the lower school students are inside, the upper school students the Math Elves will go to the classes assigned They will sit with the students who are struggling with mathematics and guide them in their own way. Their role is basically to assist the students to understand math using their own language that the students would use to impart the knowledge in their own way to their smaller schoolmates.
For me, being a maths help, I feel really good because I'm able to influence other children to let them have this strong passion for maths and they want to do it a lot more. So it really it encourages me to do more. I would take the children out to see the math village. I would show them the stuff that are here. I would teach them how to weigh you would see the flour and the sugar and the cornmeal in the shop, and I would use the prices to teach them how to add and subtract and what to get for your change or how to deal with the stuff. If I have 3 counters in this hand, 3 counters in this hand, and 1 in this hand, how many counters do you have in all?
7.
You have 7. How do you know that there are 7 counters there?
You add 3 and 3 to 1.
And then you get 7. And you can also see them, so you know that there are 7 counters there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But though the village is a fun place of learning, there are strict guidelines that must be followed by students and teachers.
The students are not allowed to just go in the math village because the things are very small and we don't want them to take them out, not to steal, but to just play with them and remove them and so. So the teachers are rostered to go to use the math village. They decide when they want to use it based on the lesson that they have to teach. And so they are rostered and they take the key, they take the students in and the students are monitored and they go in and they do their lesson, they come out, hand over the key and another teacher can use it at another time. So the students are always monitored while they are within the math village, and the teachers are all encouraged to incorporate the math village within their lesson planning. So at least 1 math lesson for the week.
For far too long, students have seen mathematics as daunting, difficult, and frankly, disconnected from everything that is important to them in everyday life. And so with a village like this, with this kind of initiative, students can come on the inside and they can see in a real way how mathematics can be relevant to what they're doing.
Greatness is in your bones.
I'm unstoppable. I'm a butcher with no braids. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game.
We're looking for great things this season, and I know you believe it within your very core. And so we have committed to continue the support behind you and in front of you and beside you so that you can excel and you can do well and you can be your best self.
I'm unstoppable. I'm a butcher with no braids. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game.
With Child Month starting yesterday, here's a reminder about a free resource that you can call for help in cases of abuse.
One of the biggest threats to Jamaica today is child abuse. The good thing is that we are on our way to improving it.
And the latest improvement is happening in the form of a helpline, one that's free, accessible 24 hours daily, and is easy to remember. The 211 helpline to report child abuse is now in effect. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency CPFSA has renewed its efforts to have a 3-digit telephone number to replace the existing 10-digit line 888 Protect, assigned to the National Children's Registry, the NCR. The NCR operates as the main point of contact for persons making reports of child abuse, neglect, and missing children. It also handles reports of child trafficking, which is handled by the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, NATFATIP. But why was it so important for this renewed call to take effect, and why now?
We have always thought it would be easier if we have a 3-digit number that children could easily remember. Now, in 2020, when we were all affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a significant reduction in the number of reports coming in. We did not believe that it was a case where children are not being abused because, most abuse takes place in the homes. So we wanted to reach out to children. At that time, we were pushing our WhatsApp line. We were saying to children, if you feel unsafe, if you feel at risk, you can reach out to us on WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is free. And of course, we're encouraging persons to call our 888-PROTECT number. But you'd appreciate that 888-PROTECT is not so easy to remember, especially for young children. The time was right for us to launch a 3-digit line that would be easy for children to remember, easy for everybody to remember.
Still, the 888-PROTECT helpline has been in effect for quite some time now. So, what exactly will this new 211 line mean for its operation?
So, the 888-PROTECT number is still in operation. What we actually did was put the 211 onto the 88-PROTECT, if that makes any sense. So, if you call either number, they both terminate at the same place. So, the calls will come into the same lines. But what we're hoping is that as time progresses, more and more persons will become aware of 211, and we will eventually phase out the 888-PROTECT.
And here's the best part about this new response to child abuse. There are designated officers who are armed with the right toolkit to manage these calls.
So we already had a system at the National Children's Registry for manning the 888-PROTECT line. In addition to 888-PROTECT, we had a number of other lines that persons could call. So what we did was just to boost that system to ensure that when the calls come into 211, we would be able to handle them. So we have a set of trained registration officers. They're social workers, who are equipped to handle the calls when they come in. They're trained in how to handle various types of callers. They're trained with skills of assessment, and they would do the necessary referrals to the investigating partners.
These partners are required to initiate an investigation and provide the NCR with an update within 3 months. Furthermore, the NCR's contact center will be expanded to provide immediate psychotherapeutic response for children who may call for help. This is being done under the Public Sector Modernization Program through the ICT Expansion Program, currently being rolled out by the Ministry of Finance's Transformation and Implementation Unit, TIU.
Anyone in Jamaica, Madam Speaker, can take up their phone and dial 211. Youth can be a partner in carrying the message to rescue our children.
And we do mean anyone, from any network, at any time.
We actually, met with the telecommunications providers, came to some agreement, and this is how we'll be proceeding in the interest of the nation's children. So the 211 is completely free, regardless of what network you're calling from.
Our nation's children are our priority, and this is being reflected in the CPFSA's targeted programs and services to respond effectively to the needs of vulnerable children and their families. The 211 helpline is just the latest step in the right direction. If you know of or suspect that a child is being abused, reach out to the CPFSA or call 211.
As your children grow, they may forget what you said, but not how you made them feel. Don't let another day pass without letting your children feel loved, protected, and appreciated. Create a safe space for them to feel comfortable opening up about what's happening in their little minds. We have come to the end of another magazine program. Should you want a recap of today's show or any other program, please visit our website at www.jis.gov.jm. Until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. See you.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.